You are watching Daughters of the King, a ministry designed to uplift and encourage all women of color and ages through everyday struggles of life. Our goal is to help you come to the knowledge that you are loved by God and that He's calling you forth to fulfill your destiny in Him. Stay tuned for tonight's message, starting now. Hey, welcome back to Daughters of the King. I'm Kathryn Gore. Thank you for joining us tonight. And believe it or not, we are still in our series, A Woman of Virtue. I know that we have been experiencing or teaching on several different things, but this is still towards us being the women that God has called us to be, right? We are still trying to conquer being a virtuous woman, and prayer, which we're going to be talking about tonight, plays a big role, okay? I was studying some scriptures and I was thinking about the message for tonight, and I started thinking about the supernatural at first, okay? And I started to think about how the supernatural chains of events can come and rescue us. So as I started to think about that, I started to do research, and I realized that the supernatural came by prayer. So I said, let's take a step back here. Let's take a step back and let's talk about prayer. Let's talk about the purpose of prayer. So when I started my message, my spirit said, what do you think about the purpose of prayer? What do you think the purpose of prayer is for? And this is what I said. The purpose of prayer is to commune with God. That was the first thing I thought about. And then I said to speak to God, showing God that you trust Him with your life, letting Him know that He has all the answers and He is the only one that can move on our behalf. So my spirit said, what do you think commune is? And I know commune was spending time with God, but after doing research, commune in general is to converse confidentially and sympathetically, okay? That's what the general word of commune means. And what confidentially means is you converse in a way that is intended to be private or secret. So overall, you will have a private conversation with God. It's between you and Him. Now, sympathetically means in a sensitive or appropriate way, in a way that shows pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune, in a way that shows approval of or favor toward an idea or action. Now, when I first saw in a sensitive way or in a sensitive and appropriate way, I started thinking about how God recently said, daughter, you and I have a soft relationship. Take my hand very softly this night. And I was wondering, what does that really mean? And I'm still pondering on that, to be honest, but this almost like kind of confirmed what God was trying to tell me, that, you know, approach Him in a sensitive and an appropriate way. How many of you need an approval or favor from the Lord? Yes, absolutely. You know why? Our ideas, this last piece said, in a way that shows approval, now this is sympathetically, in a way that shows approval of or favor toward an idea or action. And what I have found is when we don't commune with God, when we don't sit down and have a private conversation with God, sometimes our ideas are great, they're awesome, but it may not be for us. It may not be the time for us to create that action or idea. So we have to understand that in order for us to really know the Father's heart, we have to start to commune with Him. Don't move until you know that you have the approval and the favor of God upon your prayer life, okay? Now, some people's prayer life is going to be different from others. Why? Because we're all different. We have different personalities. We're not all called to be the same. Some of us have a soft relationship, like I was sharing with you that God showed me, and we approach God in a soft way. And some of us have a blunt personality, and you're like a no-nonsense type of person. Just give it to me just straight out. You're going to have that type of relationship with God, and that's okay, because this is your relationship with God. Now, overall, commune is presented in both Hebrew and Greek by several words literally signifying to speak. Okay? To speak. This is what the overall commune is about. And this is what we do when we pray to God. We speak to God. We share our heart with God. Now, when we commune with God, we're sharing private or quiet time with God. Our focus is on God, and we should start to create or build a personal relationship with God when we commune. When you're in a relationship, you're not in that relationship alone. So you can't have a conversation with yourself and answer yourself and keep talking to yourself and giving your own self the answer. No, you can't do that. You have to go back to your Father. You have to go back to the Creator, who has all wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding about your life. And you have to get the answers from God. You have to learn how to trust Him. And then, as you commune, that you give Him yourself, and He'll pour back into you. And this is how you will receive from God. You give, and He will give to you. And then this is how you build a relationship. This is how you further trust the Lord. Now, I remember God telling me a while back that I worshiped Him from afar. Okay? And I didn't understand what that, at that time, I didn't understand what that had meant, because I was going to church, but I had so many problems and so many concerns in the mind. And I wasn't sure if God was who He was. And I was thinking I was in control. I wanted to see certain things a certain way. And I was just running around in a circle, just trying to figure out how to do, what is going to take place. Why is this going on? And one day God said, daughter, you worship me from afar. And this is why you're having the problems that you're having. So if I would have took the time, even though I was a Christian, even though I was in church faithfully, what did that do for me? Because I'm going to tell you, some of us go to church and it's just out of honor and respect to the people that's in the church. What are we getting out of it? What are we getting out of it? If we're not growing, if we're not developing a personal life, a personal relationship with God, we're wasting our time. What are we really going for? So I had to ponder on that. I had to really ponder on that. And I said, God, that doesn't make sense to me, because I talk to you all the time. I know who you are, but it was the thought of me controlling my own life, okay? Me not being able to listen to what God wanted to speak to me, because my mind was all over the place. And it was just me in full and complete control. I didn't have a great prayer life. It was one of those things where I would just talk. I wouldn't wait for God to talk back. I was in control of the conversation. I didn't wait. I didn't hear. It was just like, God, I need this, please. Okay, great. I need this. God, do you see this? Great. Right. So what are we going to do? God, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do it right now. And you know what? That is so crazy, because I'm leaving God out. And this is what happens when we do this. We leave God out. And we go down some paths that we should not go. So trust, number one, trust is the key. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make straight paths for you. I want to share something with you that I recently felt in my spirit, and I kind of saw a vision while I was processing this and thinking about this. So something was going on maybe a few weeks back, and let me just read this Proverbs 3:5-6 to you one more time, because this is going to open up your understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. So this vision that I saw, it was I think God was allowing for me to see that it was me, so I could get a better understanding of what was going on in my spirit. So I remember seeing myself walk along a path with Jesus. I was holding his hand, and we started off well. We was walking, and you could tell we were walking side by side. You could tell that we were having a good conversation. And I remember Jesus smiling, and then I felt in my spirit something happened that was hanging over me, that was like oppressing me, and I was still holding on to Jesus. We were still walking, and it seemed as if the further we walked along this path, I could hardly hear his voice. Okay, I'm still walking with him. I'm still holding his hand. He's still holding mine. And I remember coming to a fork in the road. Okay, the path split where Jesus and I had to go in either or direction. So I remember Jesus smiling, and I remember him saying, I want to go this way, which was the right path. And because it was so much oppression around me and over top of me, I could hardly hear his voice. So the vision increased where I can feel and see me tugging on Jesus's hand, pulling off to the left. Okay? And my spirit was saying, no, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. And Jesus was very calm. He was very loving. And he said, I want to go this way. And my spirit was a little out of control. And I said, no, I want to go this way. This is the way that I want to go. And I can feel, in the spirit, I could feel my hand tugging, like kind of pulling his hand to go this direction, right? And I just sat there and I pondered on this vision. And I saw how Jesus looked at me. He let my hand go. And he looked at me and said, she has no clue what that path is going to bring her. She has no clue that that path is designed for her to fall. He stood there and he let me go on that path. And in my spirit, I felt him say, when she's ready to come back, she will come back and we'll go on the path that I want her to go on. Do you understand that there is so much that we could get ourselves into that is just not the perfect will of God? On that path, Jesus and I was communion. We were conversing, we were talking. He had my hand and I had his. And until we came to that fork in the road, he wanted to go this way. And I said, nope, I want to go this way, because the cares of the world drowned his voice out, and it was just all blocking everything that I could have or should have known to do. This is so important, ladies, because this is what takes place in the spirit realm. It's not that Jesus leaves us. It's not that God leaves us. It's not that the Spirit leaves us. We leave the Spirit. We leave Jesus. We leave God. And Jesus is standing there basically saying, I'm not going to force myself on you. I know what's right for you. And if you could just trust me, we could walk down this thing together. You know, it's not going to be a rose garden. But because Jesus is who he is, we're safe. We're safe. And when we go down the right path, the path that he wants us to go on, we're going to hit some bumpy roads. But you know what? Those roads are not going to make us fall, because Jesus is going to be walking next to us. He'll be there to pick us up and carry us. But the road that we place our own feet on, oh, we're going to fall. We're going to fall. And sometimes that fall is necessary in order for us to stop and regroup and think about what we are doing and return to Jesus. So this is a big part of why we need to commune in prayer with the Lord. Thank you for watching Daughters of the King. We appreciate your support. You can reach me at dotking.org by leaving a message through live chat, or you can send an email to Kathryn, Kathryn, at dotking.org. Feel free to share your thoughts about the message or give me some insight on what you would like for me to speak about. It is really about you and about what is in your heart, and we are here to support you.